nerdy, and by fun and nerdy, I mean fun and nerdy for me. So we're gonna make a rubric using a Google form and Autocrat. And I want to point out this is not the rubrics in Google Classroom. You could try to do that quieter, please. This is not the rubrics in Google Classroom. I actually personally don't like the rubrics in Google Classroom. I cannot export them. It's way too many clicks. It's way too many clicks. It's way too many clicks. It doesn't go to a spreadsheet. I can't get a report. I'm like, this is bogus. So I prefer using a Google form because everybody's, even if I just do it myself, at least all the data is in one place. And I can do the form on my phone and I can fill it out for every kid while I'm looking at their work. So I don't know. Do what you want. But that's not what we're doing. We're not doing it in Classroom. We're doing it in Forms. So if you want to do it in Classroom, great. But that's not what I'm doing today. Make sure you always collect their email address. That's just a general life rule about Google Forms. Always collect email address. And I have a strong belief that kids should always self-evaluate on the rubric. If you have a rubric, they should self-evaluate on the rubric. So the steps are, we're going to create a rubric in Google Forms. Now, as I was telling Brenda earlier, I'm going to try to refrain from ranting about rubrics and rubric design. I'm not going to talk about rubrics other than one thing, maybe. I'm just going to leave it at that. Make a rubric in Google Forms. If you want to score it, then make it a quiz in Google Forms. We're going to send it to Google Sheets. Now, once it puts it in Google Sheets, did you know you can add more columns? Oh, yes, I should give you the link to my slides. Sorry about that. Here's the link to the slides. Yeah. So when you have a spreadsheet and it's Google form data, did you know you can insert extra columns? You can move the columns around and it doesn't mess it up. There's a fun fact. So what I want to do is I want the student to self-evaluate first, and then I want to agree or disagree. I want to give them feedback, however it is that I'm going to give them feedback. Or don't. You do the rubric yourself and don't have them self-evaluate. Or whatever. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up the Autocrat Add-On. So it'll create a Google Doc, and you have to create a Google Doc template with merge tags. So that's part of the setting up the Autocrat. The Autocrat is an add-on for the spreadsheet. Separately, you have to have a Google Doc with merge tags you're going to make a copy for each student that submits, and then it's going to fill it in with the rubric and the feedback. This is what a merge tag would look like. These are some sample merge tags. You can have spaces. I just don't like to. So I'm just going to tell you don't. It just makes it more complicated, in my opinion. So it's like, put their name here, put whatever question 1 is here, whatever my feedback is here, and it's less than, greater than, greater than. That's what makes a merge tag. So this is going to be ingested. The less than, and the greater than is going to go away. And I'm only going to have the merge tags. Babe, could you talk to the kids about being quieter? Okay, now you can do Autocrat 2 ways. You can have it automatically on form submit, or you can manually merge it. I have one set up. Let's see if it's going to work. Yeah, probably this one. Okay, here's the eyeball. So if you fill this out, I'll wait. It should email you your report while I sit here. I'm going to go tell my kids to be a little quieter while you fill it out. All right, guys. Okay. No one's finished filling it out yet. Okay. All right, 5 of you filled it out. I'm going to go to the responses tab. I'm going to click on the spreadsheet. And it hasn't made yours yet. Pretty sure that I told it to just do it automatically. Might take a minute. So you see this first one, it's got a link to a Google Doc. So it says, Alice, you rate yourself B. And you rate yourself meet standard, approaches standard, below standard, and your explanation is because. Now I intentionally use very large fonts, different kinds of fonts, and different font colors, because I wanted to emphasize how nice Autocrat is that my final report doesn't have to be boring. I put my Bitmoji in there. Look, it put my full name. See if yours, oh, there we go. It's working, it's working. So the way I have set up the Autocrat on this is that when they submit the form, it makes their responses really nice, which you might want to do. You might want to do. Let's look at Brenda's. So you see it says Brenda. It says Brenda up in the name. She gave herself a C. I didn't have to type any of that. Tell me that's not awesome. You want that. We're going to kick it up a notch, though, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how I'm going to insert a column. Lauren, the rubric templates is for Google Classroom. So this one is for Google Forms. So they're just different. So do you see how I just added a column where I said teacher grade? I'm like, well, I agree, I disagree, I agree, I disagree. I think they did better. You know. So I just went in and I manually did this teacher grade. And I can put a insert one to the left. And I can just insert, what is this called? Feedback that is descriptive. I can put descriptive. There's not scripts. So Lisa, just hang tight with me. I'm going to have you make this. So you're going to make this with me. All right. So this is just what I want to argue with you is I'm just showing you that what we're going to do together is we're going to make a Google form. We're going to fill it out as a rubric. We're going to fill it out, get some student answers in there. We're going to add extra columns. So I just right click and I insert columns. And I insert columns so I can put, well, this is how I would have rated you. This is what my feedback is. And then instead of auto, I wanted to just demonstrate to you how Autocrat works. but I don't want it to automatically merge. I want it to wait until I've gone in and given some feedback. Get rid of that. Okay? So together. So what you want to do is get your Google Meet out of full screen. I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to show you how to do that, Santa. Yes, that is the point. This is because the problem with using a Google form has always been, well, how do I get them my feedback? So now I'm going to show you. I'm going to just stop sharing for a second. I'm going to share my entire screen. No, hello. Change layout. No, I don't want to change the layout. Just, okay, my entire screen. Here we go. So you see, because I have a big screen, I put I'm going to go to forms.new in the upper left, and I have the Google Meet in the bottom right. But if I had a smaller screen, what I do is I make the Google Meet about 75% of the screen, and I make what I'm working on about 75% of the screen so I can toggle back and forth. And then if I'm demonstrating and you want to watch, you come over to the Meet and you go full screen. And then when you're like, okay, it's my turn, you take it out of full screen so that you can work. Okay? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my entire screen. And I'm going to present now just my window. I'm going to resize. All of these. Okay, so we're going to make a sample rubric. If you don't already have automatically collect email addresses turned on, first go to the 3 dots in the upper right and go to preferences. And that allows you to default collect email addresses. Except it won't do it on this one. So you'll still have to click on the settings cog and checkbox collect email addresses. I'm going to wait. You're making a Google form. You are making a Google form. You are making sure it's collecting email addresses. I like to always ask for a first name and last name separately. It's 2 separate questions. If you're a high school teacher, I'm going to ask, what period are you in? I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I usually do that as a drop down. Now, you could do this trick. You could do the Google form for peer evaluation. Also, I'm not teaching you how to write a rubric. So we're going to make a ridiculous rubric that just is rubric-y enough. Okay? So I'm going to say here, how would you grade yourself overall? And I'm going to put A, B, C, D, or F. Whatever it is you want to put. We are not discussing rubric practices. That's another time. And then you can just add each criteria as a multiple choice question. That's fine. In fact, that works really good. You could ask them to do it as a multiple choice question. And what's nice about the Google Forms is you could also ask them to explain it. How would you rate your use of glitter Okay, except I don't want a linear scale. I really do want it to be multiple choice. Now here's the only thing. Meet standard. This is the only thing that I'm going to rant on about rubrics, is I'm a fan of Thomas Geske and Rick Romelli. I believe it's Thomas Geske who says, don't use exceed standards. If that's how you get full credit, then it's not exceeds. That is your standard. So meet standards is your highest. And you should have less, not more. So approach is standard, low standard, and then I have missing. Shouldn't have more than 3 to 4. So that's one way, is you could just add a multiple choice question, which works awesome in my opinion. I like it. And the other option is, instead of multiple choice, is to do a multiple choice grid. So that's where I do my columns are meet standard, approaches standard, low standard. Hey babe, I appreciate that you want to wash dishes. And then I just say evaluate yourself. Like critical thinking. He's glit already. Yes. My favorite Common Core standard spells correctly. So you can put all of your rows all in one question if you want. And you can do a free response. All right, so I'm going to give you a few seconds to create a Google form. You can consider if you want to use multiple choice grid or not. Don't make a big one. Make a quick one. Don't make it good. Make it silly. When you're done, will you click on the eyeball and you're going to fill it out a few times like you're a student. Right? So pretending that someone turned it in. Do it more than once. Just fill out a few times. If you'll then come back to the edit of the Google form, You're going to need to click on responses. And you want to click on the create spreadsheet in your Google form. It's a lot of steps. This is not for beginners, obviously, but it's fun to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert one left, and I'm going to use the paint can so I know these are my columns. So I'm thinking, okay, this is how the student would rate themselves. I would agree or disagree. Now what I'm going to do, because I'm lazy, watch careful, I'm going to type an equal sign. I'm going to click on what they said. So I'm going to default to agree. Push enter. And then if you don't know this spreadsheet trick, if you, this little square in the corner, if you pull it down, it copies the formula. And then I'm like, well, I think you should get a C. You could even write a formula on that if you're real lazy, which sometimes I am. I'm making jokes. It's not lazy to write formulas. Right? So then I might come over here to how would you rate your use of glitter? And I'm going to right click. I'm going to insert left. I'm going to use the paint can so it's a different color. I'm going to say equals, and I'm going to click on what they said so I can default to their answer. So if I disagree, I'll edit it. If I disagree, I'll edit it. So if on each of these, I'm going to right click, I'm going to insert one left, I'm going to use the paint can, I'm going to say equals, what they said, copy it. If you don't know this trick, you might want to watch me. So when I do the equals, what they said, if you double click on the square, it'll fill it down for you. So you can pull it down and drag it down, or you can double click. You have to have column headers. You see, I put teacher glitter. You have to have a column header, because what Autocrat looks for is it tries to match the merge tags with the column headers. If you don't have a column header, it won't work. So row 1, all of it has to be filled out. When you're ready to move on, can you just put it in the chat? Something, thumbs up, yes, go. Okay, cool. All right. All right. Take a stretch because now it gets crazy. All right, I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to present my entire screen. And what I'm going to want to do is I got to make a new Google Doc. I have to make a new Google Doc. I'm going to side-by-side windows the Google Doc with my spreadsheet. Okay? Docs.new. So to do this, you need a Google form, you need a spreadsheet, and you need a Google Doc. See how fun and nerdy this is? Okay, up in the document title, I'm going to do less than, name, greater than, rubric, feedback. So you can, no, I'm not. Excuse me. No merge tags up there. I'm wrong. It's late at night. My brain's cooked. I just did a few minutes ago. You guys saw I got it to work. Okay, right? So you just name, this one's my template. I'm going to name this one template. I don't really want it, so I'm going to delete it later. Now down here, you can design this however you want. You can drag your Bitmoji on it. You can use Comic Sans. I always like to hit enter a bunch of times just so I have like some room to design this thing. All right, so I'm going to go to Comic Sans. I'm going to make the font larger. I'm going to make the font hot pink just so I can be ridiculous. I'm going to say, hi, name. You rated yourself grade. I rated you T grade. I'm making the merge tags up. They're coming out of nowhere. I just do whatever I want. I make the merge tag. But I'm going to make this one be really big because I want them to know that that's the grade that I gave them. And again, I'm just being intentionally ridiculous. Now what I want to do is for each column in the spreadsheet, I can make a merge tag. And I just pick it. I'm like, your last name is last. You are in period. My feedback about the self-grading. Teacher. I'm just going to do T feedback. And then my next column says, how would you rate your use of glitter? Your rating on the use of glitter. And then I do glitter. I evaluated you as tea glitter. I'm going to make that bigger. It's going to be Comic Sans and hot pink because I'm intentionally being ridiculous. I'm going to do some copying and pasting. Name. I just want to show you that I can use the same merge tag over and over again. So I'm like, name in the Google Doc. So then it's critical thinking. So then I'll do this one, critical. I'll just do crit. And whoops. Crit and T-crit. And then my next columns are spelling. I'm going to put in another Bitmoji. I don't know why I'm using a popsicle. You said your favorite part was, and this time I'm going to insert a table, a 1-by-1 table, so it goes in a book, in a box. I'm going to do fave. So all I'm demonstrating to you is that you can organize your Google Doc however you want. You can make it look like however you want. And whatever is on the spreadsheet, if you want it in the Google Doc, you have to make up a merge tag for it, for each of the columns that you want to merge. All right. Try and make a Google Doc and let me know. Oh, we're getting there, Santa. So I told you, got to take a stretch. I'm going to map it. So I say which column goes to which merge tag. So I can just make up the merge tags, whatever I want. Thank you, Suzanne. That was very helpful. I can make up the merge tags, whatever I want, because I'm going to manually map it. Okay, let me know in the chat when you're ready to do the autocrat.
Alice?
Yes.
Will this also work if we have a spreadsheet that was not, from responses
Yes.
form?
Yes. Yeah, you can do, it doesn't have to be a form.
I'll see. Thank you.
You're welcome. It just usually is. So how else do you get data? I know, there are other ways. Okay. So we're going to go to add-ons. If you don't already have Autocrat, go down to Get Add-ons and type in AUTOCRAT and install it, please. Oh, cow. My friend just posted this picture of a 1-inch spider on Facebook. That's not okay. Look at that. Don't move to Hawaii. Oh, geez. That's terrible. Of course, I don't know what kind of weird things we have in Kansas yet. All right, so when you've got it, you're going to launch Autocrat. You can do a new job. And you name it, send my feedback, or whatever. Say whatever you want. Kids won't see that. You're going to name it whatever you want. And then from Drive, you're going to choose your template. I think you should just watch me. So this is, I'm going to choose the Google Doc. I'm going to choose the Google Doc that has the merge tags. Basically, you're just going to, whatever Autocrat tells you to do, you move through all the steps, right? So then I say next, and then here is where you map them. So the less than name maps to first name. Grade maps to what grade would you give yourself. T grade is the teacher grade. Last is last name. Period is what period are you in. So the right-hand column is the column header. T feedback goes to teacher feedback. Glitter goes to, how would you rate yourself on glitter? T glitter. Do you see how intentional I was and how I named the columns and how I did my merge tags? That it's real clear what's student and which one's teacher. Because I've learned my lesson a few times. You can learn the hard way too. Teacher glitter, critical thinking, evaluate yourself, T-crit, teacher critical, spelling, T-spells, and then your favorite part. Woo, that was a lot. Next. Okay, now on the file name, watch this. You got to click on the blue bar, and it pops out all of your column headers. And so when you click on it, it copies it to the clipboard, and it pastes the column header. Here is your rubric score, which of course a rubric score is not a grade. And like I said, we are not going to do teacher grade. I'm just trying to give an example, not do a good one. Do you see I can put multiple tags in there? And then I usually do Google Docs, but you can do PDF. And then I'm going to choose a folder because I want all of them to go into a folder. And since I don't really want these for reels, I have a delete folder. I'm going to put in there. I'm going to click next. Skip this dynamic folder reference. Skip it. Set the merge condition. Usually you skip it. So you might say only if I've given feedback should you merge it, or only if their score was less than should you merge it. Brenda, get them to, whatever, make them do it. Autocrat is a very reputable company in New York. It's New Visions. It's an education company. They've been around forever. And I know the people who work there. They should just do it. And then on step 8, where it says share docs and send emails, like, yeah, I want to share the doc. Okay, so step 8, pay attention to step 8. How do you want to give it to the student? Do you want them to be able to edit your feedback? Probably not. So I'm going to make it either a view-only doc or I'm going to make it a PDF. Look at all these fun choices. And then down here, you're going to email them. So I have to click on this blue bar. I have to click on email address, so it copies it to my clipboard, so it emails it to that column header. And then my subject on the email is open your rubric score. First name. I'm going to click next. Do I want this to run? Number 9. Do I want it to run on a trigger? No. Now, when I did it with you guys, I said yes. So when they submit, do you want it to run? Yes. If you don't give feedback. If you insert feedback columns, then no, you don't want it to run on a trigger. You want it to run manually. You don't want it to run every Sunday, so not on a time trigger either. And then I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to close this. So now the kids fill it out. The kids fill it out. I go in and I insert my feedback. And then I have to go back to add-ons and I go to Autocrat and I launch it. And then there's a play button. Play button. That makes the document and sends the feedback to the student. Okay, give it a try. Let me know what questions you have. On the one hand, I'm glad my kids are getting along in the back room. On the other hand, they're screaming. You know how it goes.
So if your students don't have emails, can you skip that step and maybe put the documents into Google Classroom? That seems like a lot of work.
No, because, well, no. So when I emailed it to them, I shared it with them. It's in their drive. So their email is really not email. The email's turned off. It's really just their Google account. It looks like an email, right, Lisa?
Okay. Yes, ours look like emails, but they don't have access
Right.
until they're in high school.
So you're going to have to tell them in Google Classroom, go find it in Google Drive. Or tediously, Lisa,
Yeah.
you go here to where it says merge doc URL, and you see where you can copy the link.
Yes.
And you paste it into the private comments one at a time per kid.
Okay.
Now go tell them to turn on email.
We have little guys. I don't think they're not going to agree to that.
Well, some schools do.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, my school district's the one that won't let us have Class Dojo and Seesaw. And
I won't tell you about our tech guy. We're not getting along. We're not gonna. Hi, Brenda. Yes, this is recorded. I know it was 5 million steps, so I'm not going to do it a second time. So you'll want to watch the recording, and you have the slides. Santa, yes, that would be true. It's both in Drive. I don't know that they get the Drive notification. I don't think they do. I'm not sure. Did you get a Drive notification? I don't think you did. Which is interesting.
So is it possible I wouldn't have to email it? I could just say to them, it goes to your drive, or it has to connect, it connects to the drive via their email.
Let me double check this so that when I open it up, before I open my big fat mouth, see, if you open anything, it goes in your drive. So I always see them in there because I open them. So let me see if it's shared with the student. It's not. Dang it. Okay. I'm a liar. If they don't open it, it won't be in their drive. I'm wondering if when I did the settings, if there was something I missed that would share it with them. Because I thought it did. I was thinking it did. I'm going to edit. I don't know what this means, single output mode.
Well, Alice, when we got ours in our drive, was it because we had our emails? Is that why ours arrived in our drive?
Yeah, well, as soon as you open up any file, that file shows up in your drive, essentially under shared with me. Or it's just in there because you've opened it. So if you had never opened it, was it in there when you didn't open it?
Well, your feedback, the one from
Yep.
the form, I just went to the drive. I didn't open it, but I just went to the drive and there it was.
Okay, that's good. Because that's always been my thinking, is that it was in their drive.
Yeah, because I'm not on my school account. I'm on my personal account. And
I mean,
it always has
share the doc. It says, do you want to share the doc? I'm like, yes.
Yeah. See, it's in your shared account because I'm in my personal account and I always have less here than my school account. So that's why I wanted to see if it was in my drive, and it was right there.
Okay, but when I open this and I click on share, oh, you know what, you guys? No, it's not. See, it's only share with me. So I can't explain it. I feel like they go to their drives.
As soon as you send it, it goes to their drive, or when they open it, it
That's
goes
what I
to
always
their
thought, but I've never really checked it because I always open it from my email. So now that I think about it, I always find them in my drive. They're in my drive, but now I'm second guessing it because when I click on share, shouldn't it be shared with them? And it said in the directions when I set it up, it said make a shared doc, remember?
right? Well, it have to be a shared doc because if you never shared it, it wouldn't make multiple copies. It would just.
All right, so Lisa, you're going to test this out for us. You're going to make a really simple Google form that has like 4 pictures, like pick which one of these is a tiger, and you're going to set it up with an Autocrat mail merge, and it's going to automatically on form submit, share it with them. And then you're going to go over to some kid's computer and just go to their drive and see if it's in there. Give you some homework, Lisa. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good way of testing
I
it.
can't test it. I can't test it because all my students have email.
Right. That's the only way you can figure it out.
Now I want to know. Because I don't know, is it adding it to the drive just because it was in Gmail? I don't know. So Lisa, let me know.
All
So
righty.
before you put a lot of effort into it, just put a little baby effort into it for a little trial run. Kids fill out a Google form and use Autocrat. Oh, Brenda left. I was going to tell her the secret is to run this stuff on your personal Gmail. And then it's not blocked.
Mhm.
I just share things with myself. Okay, questions? I know it's a lot of steps, but also remember that once you set it up, you can use it again next year too. Yes.
So I guess my other question would be if you were sending these out and the kids were getting them, do they have to organize them into a folder to keep them all together, or is there a way to make that automatically happen?
That's a good question. Because on my side, I told it to put it in a folder.
Okay.
It's organized in my folder. I don't think it's organized in their folders. The answer to that, Santa, is yes, they would need to organize it for themselves
Okay.
if they wanted it to be. I'm thinking it's not so bad for me to copy those links and paste it into the private comments just so it's findable and organized. I don't know.
When I created a folder to put that in, it put them in the folder and then also put another copy just in my
You know what?
drive.
Right. Let's take a look at that. I did just notice that. Sometimes I'm just going too fast, or I'm just, you know how it is. We all do it. Okay, so in this one, I forgot to remove it from I forgot to remove it. You're going to see it real quick here, and it's not going to feel like you were supposed to do that. Edit. Next, 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 next. Okay, do you see what it says my drive and delete? You have to delete it out of my drive. See, it defaults to putting it in my drive. So if you choose a folder you have to unselect the defaulted My Drive. I'm going to be honest, every single time I forget to do that. Oh, yeah. Lauren, this would be great for using for student usernames and passwords. Definitely. Yep. Well, it doesn't matter what their email is. I would send it as a PDF. Okay. I haven't eaten dinner yet. So last chance to ask me a question. Lauren, I will try to do one early in the morning. How about you do this, Lauren? Hold on, I'm going to stop the screen share.